If you're looking into buying a home, you're probably aware that you have the option to get an inspection before you proceed with the purchase. And in this video, I'm going to give you some more details like who orders it, who does it, what to expect, and how to prepare. A home inspection is a really important part of the home buying process, and it's definitely not something that you want to skip. That $500 to $1,200 that you spend up front can end up saving you thousands of dollars, so it is worth the upfront cost. You have the option to just get the basic inspection where they go through the roof and the appliances and the structure, electrical, plumbing, and you also have the option for add-ons. So you can get a sewer scope, and I always highly recommend that people get that. So that's where they put a camera down the sewer lines so that they can see if there's tree roots growing in there, or if the pipes are broken or cracked or damaged in any way, because that can be very expensive to repair, thousands of dollars. Another add-on that you can get is you can get a chimney inspection. So if the house has a fireplace, of course, for safety reasons, you want to get that checked out. And if you are buying in a rural area, the home may have a well and or a septic system. And those items you definitely want to get checked out. The last thing you want is to move into a house with a well and find out that it has E. coli in it. Often the seller will get compliance reports for those things before they even list the house. But if they don't, you definitely want to make sure that you're getting those things inspected. All right, so who orders it and who does it? In most cases, the realtor is going to schedule it on your behalf, and they're going to use an inspector that they trust, that they worked with before, that they know is thorough. But just know, if you prefer to choose your own inspector, you are welcome to do so. Just make sure that you're choosing one that's reputable. Make sure to look up the reviews, and don't choose somebody just because they're the cheapest. You do not want to go the cheapest route when you are spending hundreds of thousands of dollars on the house. If you are not confident that your agent is choosing the best company, I think it's a great idea to double check and just look up the reviews of that company. Ask them who they're using and say, like, hey, I just want to look into them. And then make sure that so that you feel confident about the home inspection. I also suggest that you go to the home inspection. Now, I realize that life is really busy and it might be hard to get time off of work, but it's really important that you go. It's really valuable, it's really educational, and that will give the inspector a chance to walk through the house with you and give you the chance to ask them as many questions as you want. And often when you're seeing the report on paper, it seems overwhelming and scary, and you're like, what the F are galvanized pipes? But then if you go to the inspection, you have a chance to ask the inspector about all of this stuff, and you can feel a lot more confident about moving forward. An inspector may suggest that you have other specialists come out. So say that they see a big crack in the basement, they may say, you might want to have a foundation specialist come check this out, or a structural engineer, or maybe the roof is a little bit iffy and they might tell you to have a roofing contractor come out. Inspectors know these systems very, very well, but a lot of the time, I'd say most of the time, they're not electricians or plumbers or roofing contractors. So in the inspection report, they may suggest that you have a specialist come out to double check that everything is good in those areas. As far as preparing, it's really important to remember that all homes are going to come with their own set of issues. So if you get an inspection on a home and you're like, oh, that 50-page report, nah, I'm going to get this house instead. Just remember that that house is probably going to have a 50-page report too, and it's just going to have different problems. Even new builds are going to have their own set of problems. You hopefully less, but still are going to be there. It's important to focus on the big ticket items. So you're going to want to make sure there are no leaks in the roof, that it's structurally sound, nothing wrong with the foundation, there are no major plumbing or electrical issues, and of course safety issues. And I realize that it can be very tempting to want to negotiate certain appliances that are aging. So say, for example, the inspector points out that this water heater is 12 years old and the average lifespan for water heaters is 15 years. And I know it might be tempting, like, well, a water heater is going to go out in a few years. I want to negotiate with the seller to have that replaced. I'm going to tell you that the seller is very unlikely to do that because, one, it still has several years left, and it could still last even past that date. For example, my dad, he has a furnace from the 80s and it is still going strong. Like its lifespan ended probably 5, 6, 7 years ago, and it's still going. And it could go for another 10 years. So those kind of items that are still properly working are a lot less likely, or the seller is a lot less likely to negotiate those items with you. Now, of course, if one of these systems, say the water heater breaks while you're under contract, well, of course, you're going to be able to renegotiate something like that. I'm going to be able to negotiate getting a new water heater because the house isn't the way that it was when you submitted your purchase agreement. And that's why it's also really important to do a final walkthrough, because anything that's negotiated with the seller, if you negotiated any repairs, you're gonna wanna walk through the house and make sure that they actually completed those and that they're done properly, and again, that there are no leaks or any major issues before you go to sign the papers. If you've never had an inspection before, I understand that it can be very intimidating. Of course, in this video, I'm telling you, don't expect to buy a new house. Expect that they're gonna check your furnace, AC, your other appliances, your roof, your structure, and all that. But if you've never seen a report, you really don't know how intimidating it may or may not be. So what I did, I asked a past client of mine if they would be willing to allow me to share their inspection report so that I could give it to new buyers or buyers that wanted to review a different inspection report, just so they could get kind of an idea of what it looked like and have a better idea of what to expect. So I'm going to link that in the description box if you would like to check that out. But just keep in mind that is going to be different based on the inspector that you use and probably by state as well.